Looks like they actually cooked with this one. So the network test for Elden Ring Nightreign has been going on for quite a while, and even though the first session had gamers staring at the disconnect message for 3 hours straight, subsequent sessions actually allowed gamers to beat the loading screen boss and finally jumped into the gameplay. And judging by what we have seen, I gotta tell you, it's actually much more poggers than we anticipated. For those of you who don't know, Nightreign is an upcoming roguelike game developed by FromSoft with an Elden Ring skin, and the network tests are taking place during this weekend. So I wanted to show you all the things we have noticed and discovered when we saw the game. We don't have a console, and the network test is not available on PC, so all the footage you'll be seeing today has been kindly given to us by Lost and Steelovsky. Be sure to sub to them after watching here. Alright, calling the Rani that explains shit now. It goes without saying that this early version of the game is still in development, so expect features to change and bugs to be fixed. Hopefully. Upon entering, you'll find yourself in a remade version of Round Table Hold, now equipped with a training ground, an upgrade table, and inhabited by other playable characters, each of whom will spout one-liners when interacted with. When you're ready, you can interact with the Round Table to start searching for a match, and choose one of 4 available characters for the network test. The only boss available for now seems to be Tricephalos, which is weird because it displays a different name on top of its life bar. After making your selections, a cutscene will play, showcasing you and your teammates being carried into battle by a ghostly eagle before you're given the option to choose where to land, Fortnite style. And this is where the real gameplay begins. The gameplay revolves around fighting groups of enemies and mini-bosses, collecting loot, and leveling up by unlocking Sites of Grace. Levels are extremely important, not just for boosting your overall stats, but more importantly, for increasing your tiny baby pee-pee vigor bar.
Ooh, that's kind of small. Yikes.
Equally crucial is the loot, which, obviously, is randomized. Weapons don't just have basic stats and random ashes of war. They also come with varied passives to help you along the way, which are also randomized, so much so that they often have zero thematic connection to the weapon itself. Seals and staffs, on the other hand, come preloaded with specific spells, and only those seals or staffs can use them. Every character seems capable of wielding anything as long as they meet the required stats, but I'd guess that each character is better suited for gear that matches their theme. You can upgrade your equipment using smithing stones in anvils, and you can also buy stuff from merchants that are next to the anvils, which sell weapons and items. Be sure that if you see any of the good ones for sale, you get it immediately, because some weapons are way better than others. At one point we saw Steel pick up a bloody godskin peeler, and that thing shredded enemies like butter, like it was fucking insane. At another, he got that crystal shower spell, and it straight up vaporized a golden hippo.
It'll apply.
So yeah, kinda luck-based. But even if you luck into the good stick and feel like an unstoppable Terminator, level progression and passive collection still matter, as well as escaping the ever-enclosing Nightreign, which passively deals damage to you. If you lose all your HP, your character enters a Fortnite-style downed state, where the only way to get revived is by getting spanked by a teammate. If 10 seconds pass and you remain unspanked, you die and respawn 1 level lower. If all players die during a main boss fight though, well, it's back to the lobby for you. But in the case you don't kick the bucket during your first expedition day, you'll be immediately thrusted into the second day after defeating the field boss. Just don't worry if they kinda glitch out afterwards.
Oh my god.
Oh, they
Guys, the game is glitched. I keep killing the boss tail over and over again.
It's still in development. After another day of looting, leveling, and fighting, and taking down the Day 2 boss, it's time to face the expedition's final boss. And of course, it's gonna be tough. Hopefully, by then, you've stacked enough loot and levels to avoid getting absolutely demolished. If you manage to win, the expedition ends, and you're rewarded with relics and other shit. Relics can be used in the round table to upgrade your characters for future matches, giving you some form of progression beyond individual expeditions. For now, this seems to be the core gameplay loop, and we haven't seen much that deviates from it. Exploration is encouraged with forts, caves, and dungeons hiding enemies and loot, plus various landmarks on the map offering different rewards. Your loadout matters, of course, but understanding your character's abilities is just as crucial. Each character has unique abilities that affect combat in different ways. For example, the Duchess can turn everyone invisible and remove enemy aggro. throw. These abilities run on a cooldown, so you can't spam them endlessly, but since they don't consume resources, there's no real downside to using them whenever they're up. Speaking of spamming, character abilities aren't the only thing that set them apart. Each one also has unique weapon animations and dodging mechanics. For instance, Wilder is the only character who gets a regular greatsword heavy attack on the claymore instead of its signature thrust attack. Dodges also vary between characters, especially the Duchess, who takes it to the absolute extreme. Her light roll spam gives her near total invincibility, and when combined with the enhanced iframes passive, she's basically unkillable as long as she keeps rolling. Truly Miyazaki's vision, if you ask me. If you want to experiment, you can test out every character ability and weapon at the training grounds in the round table hold. Just pick one from the chest and start goofing around. Legendary weapons have new passives that were not in the base game, so trying them out may be a good idea. What you can't really test, though, is how character abilities interact with each other, since you can only control one character in the training grounds. And that's a big deal because some abilities become brutally broken when combined. Take the Duchess, for example. She has an ability that repeats the last few seconds of damage dealt to an enemy, effectively doubling it. On its own, it's pretty strong, but 3 Duchesses spamming it together will Thanos snap any sentient being out of existence. Of course, the game is still in development, so things might change, but it would be nice to have a way to test character synergies outside of full expeditions. Speaking of expeditions, the difficulty curve is all over the place. Sometimes enemies are so easy you can practically beat them while standing in the rain, which, by the way, doesn't seem to deal much damage. Other times, they turn into full-on Lovecraftian nightmares that can massacre you in an instant. Maybe levels have something to do with it, but more testing is needed. While the gameplay is fun and fast-paced, the loop might get repetitive over time, at least with the current content. Yeah, bosses do have new moves and all, but it will only be a matter of time until you get familiar with them, and it's back to square one. That's just the nature of PvE. At some point, things become predictable. At the very least, bosses from older games come with their original soundtracks, which is a nice touch to keep the hype up.
Slowly but surely killing the guy.
Fighting the centipede demon with the Capra Demon's theme blasting in the background was pretty poggers, to be honest. Hopefully, FromSoft refines the gameplay and adds more features to keep things fresh and replayable, so the experience doesn't get stale after 4 or 5 matches. But I think that's just the natural consequence of not having a human competitor component, especially in a game that could have one if it were balanced around it. The Fortnite comparisons only make us want PvP even more, but after seeing the kind of spells and crazy anime-style abilities this game has, yeah, we don't really think a PvP mode would be feasible or even possible. Honestly, it does look like a fun game. We just hope the final release refines its replayability. Okay, explaining Rani, go away, it's my turn again. What? Bye-bye. Well, that's pretty much it. Like we said, the game is still under development, and these are all the features we were allowed to experience. We'll have to wait until it finally comes out on May 30 to see what the whole thing is about. In the meantime, try not to search for Rule 34 of the Recluse that much, you little weirdo.